Undercooked bear meat to blame for infecting family with rare roundworm parasite, CDC. The 6 infected family members lived in South Dakota, Minnesota, and Arizona, and ranged in age from 12 to 62. At least 6 family members, including a 12-year-old, who gathered for a meal of black bear meat during a family reunion in South Dakota, were infected by a rare roundworm parasite known as trichinosis, the U. Centers of Disease Control and Prevention said in a release on Thursday. 8 members of the family ate a meal together in South Dakota in 2022 that included the meat, which one of them had been harvested in Saskatchewan, Canada, and frozen for 45 days after a hunting outfitter recommended that as a way to get rid of parasites. Persons who consume meat from wild game animals should be aware that adequate cooking is the only reliable way to kill Trichinella parasites, and that infected meat can cross-contaminate other foods, the CD said in the release. The meat was then grilled and served with vegetables as kebabs. 2 of the infected family members had only eaten the vegetables. Because the meat was darker, it was inadvertently served rare, which some of the family members mentioned and then recooked. In July 2022, 6 days after the meal, one of the family members, a 29-year-old who had returned to Minnesota, began to experience symptoms, including fever, severe muscle aches, periorbital edema, swelling around the eyes, and eosinophilia. After the 29-year-old was hospitalized for the second time in 17 days, healthcare providers found out he had eaten bear meat, and he was diagnosed with the parasite, and the Minnesota Department of Health was notified. The man was prescribed empiric albendazole as a treatment. Albendazole is used to treat infections caused by worms, according to the Mayo Clinic. It works by keeping the worm from absorbing sugar, glucose, so that the worm loses energy and dies. 8 family members who live in Minnesota, South Dakota, and Arizona were interviewed by public health officials, and 6 of them were found to have the parasite. A 9th person, who is a minor and whose exposure to the meat couldn't be confirmed, appeared to be healthy, the CDC said. Another 2 of the infected family members were hospitalized and prescribed albendazole, and all 6 family members recovered. After the infected meat is ingested and after exposure to gastric acid and pepsin, the larvae are released from the cysts and invade the small bowel mucosa, where they develop into adult worms, the CDC said of the parasite. Females are 2.2 m in length, males 1.2 m. The lifespan in the small bowel is about 4 weeks. After 1 week, the females release larvae that migrate to striated muscles, where they encyst. The larvae can move through the body to muscle tissue and even to the brain, CBS reported. The CDC advised, cooking meat to an internal temperature of 165 Fs 74C is necessary to kill Trichinella parasites. Trichinella-infected meat can cross-contaminate other foods, and raw meat should be kept and prepared separate from other foods to prevent cross-contamination,